Well, welcome back. We've been talking about a number of subjects over the last number of times, and what we want to talk about is how do we get information so that we can go about choosing a community. So, you guys are going to be a village. And as a village, we have an outsider coming in who's a PhD from the West, and he's here to get information from you. John?
Sir, I noticed that your cows are sick. Are they always this way?
They seem about normal, I guess. So yeah, I guess so.
Okay, well that's a typical answer. Ma'am, how many children do you have?
I have two.
Okay, and are you married?
No.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Sir, I noticed that you're smoking. Have you always smoked?
Who are you, and what do I care what you, why are you asking?
Oh.
Give him a hand. Give yourself a hand. Good job, guys. Okay. Basically, you saw an interviewer come in from the outside. He was kind of snotty, he didn't necessarily respond very well. And his questions may have been good. What we want to talk about in the home groups is two separate questions in the home group. The first question I want you to talk about is what kind of information would you want to get so you can decide to begin work in this community or this community or this community. So you're going to talk about that as a home group, as a small home group. And then the second is how would you go about getting that information? Would you come in like he did? I wouldn't suggest that, but what are some other ways that you could get this information? Welcome back. I know you've had some good discussion about what are some of the things you want to know about the particular community so you can decide which community to enter. Your group leader has a form, and that has some areas on it that we would like you to think about gathering information on. And some of the areas that you'd like information on is know what are the geographical boundaries of your community, and what are some of the past events that were important in your community. The second thing you want to talk about and learn about is the family. How many kids in a family? What's the relationship? A third thing you want to talk about is how do people earn their living? Are they farmers or are they herdsmen, like in the village here that you played? You want to get some idea about how much education there is. Is there a school, a primary school? Are the kids in school? You want to get some information about the government as well. You want to really know about what religions there are in this. Is this an animist community? Is this a Christian community? Is it a Buddhist community? What kind of community it is? And then it's always important to know about the crops and the animals. And do they grow the crops just to eat? We also want to get some information about health and their housing. What's their house like? And how do they communicate? And what are some things that they did in the past? So there's lots of information you want to gather, but you don't do it the way this researcher did it, coming around and saying, okay, because in reality, most of the time, people won't give you the right answer anyway. They don't know who you are. So one of the things that we suggest is you have the form that you have in front of you, but you never take it into the village. You know what you're looking for, and then you just go around. And at the beginning, the first few times you go in, You don't ask direct questions. You don't ask, how many kids do you have? Are you married? They don't ask, have you always smoked? You ask much more general questions. And they'll ask you questions, and you can respond. So it's a very informal type of process. And depending upon your community, you ask it where people are always gathered. And where are they gathered? Well, in most places, there's a marketplace or a market day. In the Middle East and Central Asia, there are tea houses all over the place. I'm not suggesting you go into the bars, but tea houses are good. And so it's really very informal. Then you come back, you talk together as a training team, and you record it on the form. But you don't take that as the gospel. You go back again in more informal ways because you need to spend time, and more time getting to know the people and gathering information. So you're really using much more of your senses. Your primary sense is your eyes. What do you see? Then if you're nationals and you know the language, as you're walking around the marketplace, you hear what people are talking about. Even use your nose some. You can tell when there are no latrines around or where the garbage is or if they're brewing beer. And so it's really a look and listen type of survey. You gather, you come back, you record, you go back and test. So information gathering is a very important thing, and you go about this process as a training team so that you can make a choice of where to begin. And in our next session, we'll talk about how do I go about choosing Village A to start a program or B or C.